I ask you a question? Are you ready to get and keep momentum in your business? I hope so, because it's Penny Elliott here, your host to having the perfect mix of the woo with the do. If you're ready to create the life that you want through a business designed by you, then tune in. Hi, welcome to the Get Momentum for Online Entrepreneurs podcast with your host, me, Penny Elliott. This is a show where we match the woo with the do. So it's the perfect mix of mindset and strategy. So you guys can have fast success in your business just like you thought you would when you first started. And today I have the amazing Kelly Lundberg, all the way from Dubai/Edinburgh. So don't get confused with the accent, although I'm not sure if you could actually have a Dubai accent. It's usually just generally expat, some style of expat accent. But anyway, it's lovely to have you on the show today. We've just been chatting before we jumped on about branding and obviously Kelly was going to tell you about how her business has evolved. But one thing that I really picked up on is about how women really hide behind their business and don't show up as themselves. And I really love the fact that, Kelly, you are helping women get that really good combo of this is me, I'm real and authentic, versus I'm a fucking hot mess all over the internet and like this is the inside of my undie drawer. Because there is a balance of showing authenticity without like oversharing. And I always say that people buy people. And so it's really important to have someone like yourself on the show, Kelly, to talk about that, because people buy people, not products or services, and you're helping people be people. So welcome.
Thank you so much. It's so great to be here. I just love the power of technology, and we can be all over the world, and here we are.
Yeah, so exactly. Now, I'm sure you've got a very posh introduction, including mentioning your TED Talk. So go for it. Tell us what you do, who you help, who you serve, and how you're awesome.
Oh, that's so nice. Well, I've been 15 years as a celebrity stylist, and I recently transitioned from working with people's individual brands in terms of how they show up. So I've been working with royalty, I've been working with, all sorts of individuals, from mums on the school and on to feeling fabulous. And now I've transitioned into really helping those to step up their personal brand, not just from a clothing perspective, but within their business. And just exactly as you said, that confidence piece, which I hear so often, and something that, mums, and I don't know why I say mums, but even just women in general, because that's the target audience that I work with, is that they always say to me, well, I don't think I have anything special to say, or I don't think I have, who would listen to me? And this is something really that I think so powerful, is what is obvious to you is amazing to others. And it's so true, because you just hear it all the time. You're like, oh, I don't, it's not important, or I don't think it's relevant, but it so is. So that's what I'm really enjoying, kind of helping them find their, their personal brands and create something that's in demand, so that they've got two ways that they can showcase their business, but also showcase themselves. Because as you said, people buy from people they know, like, and trust.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? I think touching on the mother part is, I'm like a super confident person. I've done 18 Ironmans, 40 marathons. You put me in a room, I'm the loudest one there. I'm captivating. You'll know I'm there. And then I had Josh, and all of you that follow me know that my little guy will soon be 2. And I remember feeling, I went back to a networking meeting, and I used to, rock up, do whatever was needed of me. I'd step up if I needed to take a segment or do whatever. And I remember sitting there, like, white knuckling it, under the table, and just thinking, oh my God, like, what am I doing here? What am I doing here? And like, who am I to be here? And I remember leaving there and thinking, I now can relate to so many more mums. And I think, and I'll probably get chastised by this in the comments and in the reviews, but my personal view is, when you have a child, you become a shell. You know, you are the shell that looks after this human being. You give your soul, you give your blood, you give your minerals, you give absolutely everything to it. And then when it comes out the other side, you then still continue to feed and keep this human alive. And you really are, some days do just feel like a factory, you know, like there's no one else that's going to keep them alive. I mean, I know they can have formula and you can pump and things like that, but really when they're crying, it is mama that does settle them. And you know, you are the number one. So therefore, when you go back to something else, you think, geez, can I really do this? And I think that really comes from that, like, I've been such a shell for so long for someone else. Who am I then to stand up on a soapbox and say I'm amazing at something?
Yeah, and it's yeah, the confidence piece is the biggest, and I think you know, you lose your identity a little bit. I certainly saw it in the clothing world, you know, when people transitioned from all sorts. So I saw it from, you know, when you know, guys got divorced and were back out in the dating scene, or women the same thing, or when they'd gone into a different decade. You know, I see that confidence just sort of go, you know, should I be doing this or can I be doing this? So certainly from the style perspective, but then adding in the business element as well, where people just feel, oh, I'm going to be judged, or I'm going to be this, or someone's going to say something. So for me, the confidence thing is really important to help them grow, because like everyone's got a gift. Everyone has a gift. And sometimes that gift is maybe just raising your family, or just being an incredible auntie, or, you know, having a fantastic business, or whatever it is, an amazing employee. But it's just those that want to maybe take it a little bit further. How do we do that?
Yeah, amazing. Well, I mean, that dovetails really well into the first question that I always ask on the show, and that's, we're all about creating consistent clients here. So how do you create a consistent flow of clients? Like, what is your secret sauce?
Well, I mean, I guess that whole word consistency is key for everything. I mean, I think from my perspective, you know, personal branding, even yourself, building your personal brand, is not something that happens overnight. It's a consistent investment into all the things that you do, so that, hey, when you look back 5 years later, you're like, oh, I've done this, I've done this, I've done this. So the credibility piece is there. So for me, social media is a really great tool for credibility, and not necessarily, oh, I get a sale directly from that, but someone will say, oh, I followed you on here. Or like, for example, you know, Louis Vuitton contacted me, you know, pre-lockdown, and asked me if I could work with them on a particular project on personal branding their employees and building their confidence. And I was like, you know, so always I ask, how did you find out about me? And they said, oh, well, we've been following you on social media for a while, and we just wanted to ask and saw your what you're doing. When I worked with Chanel and all their beauty team, I asked, how did you find out about me? Oh, we found you on social media. So I think for me, social media is by far the best credibility piece in terms of like shop window. That's how I always look at it. And for me, I think that it's incredibly important that that's there as a shop window, but I don't necessarily rely on it to say, hey, I've launched this product, click today to buy it. I don't see it as that kind of immediate return, if you know what I mean. So certainly the credibility piece there, and really just engaging with people. That for me has been, hey, can we have a call? How can I help you? How can I add value? Not everyone necessarily is going to become a client, but as we were talking about before, I love speaking to people and seeing if I can help them, and if I can manage it into my diary, I will do it. And I think what has been, you know, one of the many pluses about lockdown is it's forced people to have online calls. So I've been doing online calls for years, but there's still this reluctance of, well, there was this reluctance of people actually wanting to have an online call. And now it's like, oh yeah, let's Zoom, let's go to a meeting, you know, whatever it is. And for me, I think I've managed to serve so many more people because I'm not trying to drive around and find a car parking space. Or do you know what I mean? That to me has just been really crucial. So I would say for me, those two things are incredibly important.
Amazing. So the main thing is you're putting the social back into social media. Yeah. Being sociable, being the person. Yeah, I was speaking with a client this morning, one of my VIP clients, and trying to explain to her that you wouldn't say, you know, someone had sent her a message and said, oh, I've seen you on social media. I'm thinking of doing this. And she said, oh, do you want to jump on a call? Like really straight away. And I said, well, you've got to think about these people as real people on the other end of their messenger. And you wouldn't go into a room, like a networking event, and go, you know, so, I'm thinking about working on my personal branding. Well, here's my card, here's my card, here's my card, here's my card, you know, and that's what sort of jamming it down their throat is. So I really like the fact that you've said, you know, you've really highlighted the fact that you love to have conversations with people and get to know them and see if you can help them. And that's the key bit, see if you can help them.
IG story has been incredibly powerful recently, and it's been something that, you know, I always kind of posted but never consistently. And then what I started doing during lockdown, maybe towards the end, I started doing an end of week review where I'd just be kind of like, oh, this is the things I worked on, and I met this client today, and oh, I had this challenge this week, and I kind of just gave this roundup in 3 or 4 minutes. Now I've been doing this consistently now for the past 2.5 months. And now people message me all the time on IG story when I post, love your end of week roundups, or, you know, this is really good. So that to me has been the ability to be able to be really real with people, because they see exactly what I look like. You can doctor any picture and do whatever you want on your feed. The IG stories, given that authenticity piece packed, that I think now more than ever, people just want to be with real people. Yeah. And they want be the real people, and you know what we've been through is emphasizing that even more.
Yeah, exactly. It's really making people cherish communication and not just take it by the, you know, for granted. Yeah, it's fantastic.
You follow Sarah Blakely on Instagram?
I have done, yeah. I was in a mastermind with her a couple of years ago now. She's fantastic.
Really is. And if you see her way that she does like Instagram and Instagram stories, it is so real, so authentic in the terms of, I just think, you know, she's a mum of 4. She'll show you her kitchen if it's not been cleaned since breakfast. You know, she talks that she forgets about, you know, packing the kids' lunches, and she's in I think it's like in America, you have these lane things that you drive up and kids off, and she's like, oh my God, I'm in my pajamas. You know, it's all very real. And that just adds to the warmth of her as a personal brand as well.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So I guess being consistent and you know, and consistently putting yourself out there is obviously your secret sauce. But something else I like to share on the show is how successful entrepreneurs like yourself get momentum in their business when things haven't gone quite like you wanted. So there's been a setback, or you've had to dig really deep to be able to get that momentum back in your business. Because I like to call BS on, you know, the line just going straight up like this, and everyone just gets, you know, 6 figures one month and 7 figures the next month, because it's not like that. And I really want to highlight that to all of the listeners. So when have you had to dig really deep to get momentum after a setback that you could share with us?
And I would say it's not even something that's like a one-off. I would say it's pretty consistent, where maybe you'll get going and you might have 8 really good months, and you're like, you know, yeah, it's happening, and it's there, and it's there, and it's there, and then something will happen, you know. And there's been so many cases. I've been in business 15 years, so there's loads. Like, there was one time that I really wanted to franchise my styling agency, and I went, you know, met with all the franchise people that were going to help me with it, and basically then the one company that I went with ran off with my money. And it was a case of, then I had to go and you know, it was a lot of money, and so I then went to the courts, and in Dubai they're kind of like, oh well, there's no point in doing it, you won't get anywhere. And I'm like, no, that's my money, I'm going to the courts to see if I can get it back. And I really did push for it, and in the end I won, and I was really happy. So often, people are just like, oh well, that was a lesson, and I'm like, no, do you know what, and let's go to the police station, and you know, oh, the guy gave me a check and the check bounced, and it was just, no, I was really determined. That's just one of them. But you know, I think you know, more recently, one of the biggest things in terms of that keeping momentums and setback has been, you know, I just spent 4 months on my own. You know, I live on my own, and you know, it was really interesting, you know, speaking to different people, and again, family, and you know, those that have got kids, and they were like, oh, you're so lucky, you know, you're on your own, and you know, I'd do anything to be on your own time. And I'm like, oh my God, how many more nights alone do you know what I mean? The momentum that was needed to keep myself busy and to keep inspiring those within my community and those that I mentored, and what are the things that I could be doing. It was a setback, but in some ways it also really pushed me to go, do you know what, you've got it still in you. And even if you're not surrounded by other people, what are the things that you can be doing to keep yourself mentally strong? Because when you have that setback, it's the mental part where we go first, and then the confidence and what have you come in. I mean, they're just a couple off the top of my head that I can think of. After we finish this call, there'll be loads more. But I think that's and certainly through mentoring and others, and you'll find this the same. It's, you know, I mean, I was naive when I started my business, and I was 23, 24 when I started. But I think, you know, if you do think it's just going to go like that, expect the setbacks, because you'll only learn from it, and
Yeah.
amazing things will happen. Amazing things.
Yeah. So if you could go back to the beginning of starting your business when you were 23, 24, knowing what you know now, what would you tell your young entrepreneurial self?
Oh God, that's a really good question. I think, do you know what? If I'm honest a little bit, but you know, everything's worked out the way it has. I always remember 3 years into business, and I was doing everything because I was just like desperate to really make the business a success. So as a stylist, I was doing a bit of home styling. I was doing photo shoots. I was doing one-to-one styling. And I remember a coach said to me at the time, listen, if you're going to make this a niche, if you're going to make this a success, you better be become known in one aspect. And I was like, but I can't give it all up. I need it all. And he was like, well, you'll just become jack of all trades. And I was like, well, don't really like the sound of that. Okay, I will I will really focus on what I love, which was the personal styling and the one-to-one. And that was then, it's when I started doing that, really catapulted sort of my success in terms of confidence in who I dealt with, and then amazing clients, and just, you know, the type of work that I was doing. So I think going back to what would I tell myself would maybe have been, don't try necessarily everything, but in the same sense, you know, you can't join the dots until you look backwards, and I'm here because of everything that I've done. But that would be one thing. I was just so hungry. Like, I took a massive loan out to start my business. So I was cabin crew with Emirates, and I just was like, right, I've had enough. I really want to start something that I'm passionate about, which was something that was helping people, but in style and fashion. And in those days in Dubai, you had this huge long red tape to set up a business. And one of those was you had to have a trade license. And in order to have a trade license, you had to have like something like $20,000 in the bank to say that, you know, you're a business. It's just paperwork. I didn't have that money. So I basically took this massive loan to cover that. And do you know what? In some ways, it was the best thing I ever did, because it gave me that motivation every single day to go, do you know what? You've got that loan to pay
Yeah.
off. Because I sort of lied to the bank manager and told them that it was a car loan.
Well, you were driving your business forward, so that's fine.
I love that. I've never used that. The bank manager said to me, what kind of car are you buying? Like, that seems like an awful lot of money for someone your age. Completely panicked. And I told him I was buying a Porsche. And he told me that I had really good taste, and I had the money within the account within a few days.
Well, there you go. He must have been a Porsche lover, so good answer.
I love that, driving my business forward. I'll use that.
There you go. You can go, once you see him one day when you walk around, you can say, I drove my business forward. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly.
So what legacy are you wanting to drive forward in and create and leave in this online space now that you are fully online?
In the online space, do you know what I just love is that, I guess it's that confidence piece for women, because I see how that has a ripple effect on their entire life. So now, sort of having been in the mentoring space sort of nearly 3 years, and I've seen how far, you know, I love seeing where the girls have come from. So for that, it's how it's affected them as an individual, their confidence, whether it's their clothing, whether it's the stuff that they're doing with their kids, like all of that just has a huge piece. So if I can continue to build that sort of legacy of leaving, people, giving them that confidence to just show up as the best version of themselves every day, and know that it's just the little things that make the difference. That's it.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, it sounds like you are doing that with some of the fantastic clients that you're working with and the connections that you're making, especially after being 4 months on your own. And I definitely would have been one of those people that was like, oh my God, you're so lucky. A little while. I think 4 months is quite a long time.
I tried to homeschool my sisters. Well, not tried, I did. So we'd do an hour Zoom session with them in Scotland. So we did, each week we did like an Auntie Kelly's project. So we did like ones on charity, and it was just kind of my bit to sort of connect with them. What else did we do? We did amazing jobs and stuff like that, but I tried. So, it was, we had a tough lockdown in the sense that it was really strict to begin with, but then it eased off, and now we're kind of back to the new normal, I guess.
Brilliant. So how can people get in touch with you?
Kelly Lundberg Official. So everything is on website, Kelly Lundberg Official, and on Instagram, I'm Kelly Lundberg Official as well.
Amazing. And we'll put the link to that in the show notes, and obviously follow along the stories, because then you'll see the real inside of Kelly, and see what she's up to at the end of every week. And is there some, like you said, it's just the little bits, like, is there some sort of gift that you can give to the listeners, or a download or anything like that they could start to have a taste for some of your work?
Absolutely. I mean, I've got a 45-minute brand new replay on the website. If they want to have a check out there, it will give them the opportunity to just kind of see why they think why personal branding is so important, and the steps they can be doing straight away. So there's totally actionable things right there, right now for them.
Oh, amazing. I might even go and have a little watch of that while I make dinner. That sounds really good. So thank you. We'll put the link to that in the show notes as well. So make sure that once you finish listening to this, you jump on over to the show notes and grab that, because often people will think, I don't need to worry about my personal brand. But what we've learned in this podcast episode is that it's super important, and not something that when you realize you need to worry about your personal brand, that's almost too late. You need to start thinking about it now and chipping away at it and having that consistency, so that when you really do need it, it's already there and it's built. So make sure you jump on over and grab that gift and listen to that 45-minute training. It sounds valuable.
I've got one piece of advice, but one piece of homework for those that actually want to do something and see the results, is to go onto Google and Google their name and see what comes up. So not in the vain way, but in the sense of look at it as a business capacity. If you run a business, what actually comes up for you? So look at the stories, click on images, and click on videos. And it's going to go two ways. One, you're going to be like, oh my God, there's nothing. And that's when you're like, okay, I need to work on my personal brand because there's nothing out there. And even if you're an employee, there should still be something that shows and demonstrates your skills. And then the other side could be, okay, there's stuff I want to change. Like, I don't like those pictures, or that video's done really well, or I need to do this. How can I do more of it? So my challenge to maybe everyone listening and watching is Google yourself.
Amazing. Why doesn't everyone Google themselves, take a screenshot, put it to Instagram stories, tag Kelly and I, and say whether you are nothing or all that and more.
Love it, love it, love it, love it. Thank you so much.
And we'll share them with, far and wide as well. So make sure you do that. Okay, so the last soundbite, which I've now kept as a secret for all guests, because they spend the whole interview thinking, what am I going to say? What am I going to say? So the last soundbite is, what's your favorite one-liner you give yourself to get momentum in your business daily?
Oh, my favorite one-liner. Oh, there's so many, because I just love a good quote and a good one-line. Oh my God, there's so many. I love this one that I would say, and it is be the woman that you always wanted when you were a little girl.
Oh,
And
I love
just-
it. Perfect
Yeah,
for your brand as well. Be the woman that you wanted to be when you were a little girl.
love it.
Amazing. Well, I wanted to be, I'll let you all know, I wanted to be the weather lady. And I'm obsessed with watching the weather. I always wanted to be the weather lady, and I tried to change my name from Penny to Penelope by Depol, but my mum said I had to pay for it, and I think I was like 7, and I think I had about 40 cents in my piggy bank, and it didn't cut the mustard.
Love it, love it, love it,
There
love
you
it.
go.
Yes.
Perfect. Hey, well, thank you so much for all your valuable time, and really highlighting the fact that you need to start now. And, you know, there's only 2 times to plant a tree, and that's 40 years ago or today. So make sure you guys jump on Kelly's free gift, screen grab it, tell us which way you are with the homework as well by Googling yourself, and let us know how you get on. So thanks so much, Kelly, for joining us, and make sure you guys stay tuned for the next episode. Thanks.
Thanks.
Wow, what an amazing episode. Thanks for tuning in. And if you loved the Woo with the Do and want to dive deeper into how you too can get and keep momentum in your business, then please join us at pennyelliottgroup.com/consistent clients for the live training this month. It's going to be super juicy as I'm giving you access to the only 3 daily habits and mindset tweaks you need to have consistent clients in your business forevermore. Come and join us.